The chair would like to call to order tonight's regular meeting of the Board of Education of CUSD 201, February 12, 2019. Roll call, please.
Mr. Armstrong.
Here.
Mrs. Charlton.
Here.
Mrs. Coyle.
Here.
Mr. Price.
Here.
Mr. Rudy.
Here.
Mr. Strohmeyer.
Here.
Ms. Wilson. Thank you.
If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is student recognition. And at first, we would like to say thank you all very much for your patience as we are all trying to get through this winter and for coming tonight to this event. So what we're going to do is start with the elementary schools and then the junior high and high school. And I think this year we're starting with Manning.
Good evening. My name is Lindsay Peterzak. I'm the principal at Manning Elementary. Thank you to the board, Mr. Carey, teachers, parents, classmates, and community members for coming to recognize some of the outstanding achievements in District 201 tonight. Each of you plays a part as we truly live the philosophy of it takes a village. Tonight, it is my honor to announce 6 students at each grade level who have received the Manning Meteor Award for first semester. There are 6 criteria that students must meet in order to be in the running. This criteria goes beyond the achievement and growth in academic areas like math or English and focuses on the whole child. While our days focus on helping students to become better readers, writers, and problem solvers, we also have a dedication to making sure our students become kind and compassionate human beings. We strive for our students to be the following: trustworthy, respectful, responsible, fair, caring, and to be good citizens. So with that, I will announce each grade. If you hear your name, if you could come up, we'll start with kindergarten, accept your award, and then we will take a picture for each grade level. From Ms. Perino's class, Emilia Lineweber. If you could come on up. Simon Kenny. From Mrs. Roth's class, McKinley Boersma and Ryan Goldsmith. And from Mr. Workema's class, Olivia Patt and Sean Byers. Congratulations. Parents would like to take a picture. All right, congratulations. From first grade, Mrs. Mullane's class, Gavin Adams, Kaylin Siebold. From Miss Sellers' class, Brooke Petty, Logan Downing. And from Miss Connor's class, Asher Bryant and Danielle Shobit. You can come down to take pictures. From second grade, Mrs. Gordon's class, Ryan Schultz, Veronica Barrett, from Mrs. Frank's class, Ryan Dunlap, and Boris Verodonov. And from Mrs. McConnell's class, Noah Miati, and Natalie Rogala. Congratulations. From third grade, Mrs. Schultz's class, Jackson Jagger, Josephine Schmidt, from Mrs. Seaver's class, Gwyneth Jindra, and Ardian Rizmani. And from Mrs. Holly's class, Luke Stern, and Maya Ferguson.
You want me to take a picture? Oh, okay. You want me to-
Congratulations. From fourth grade, Mrs. Mazzacano's class, Maria Tahir, Sean Marin, Emily Slowinski, Charles Steckety, Eleanor Denning, and Zachary Cunningham. Congratulations. And finally, oh, sorry, pictures. Finally, our fifth graders, last but not least, from Mrs. Walsh's class, Caitlin Hoover, Mason Cabrera, Jackson Strohmeyer, Isabella Fernandez, Kyle Johnson, and Amelie Sika. Congratulations. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to introduce Principal of Miller Elementary, Tim Weiler.
Thank you, school board members, Mr. Carey, district staff, parents, students, and members of the community for inviting us here tonight. We are excited and honored to celebrate leadership, integrity, academics from first semester, and a couple students from last year that we'd like to honor tonight. Our first group that we'd like to recognize is their growth in English language proficiency. Ms. Chapinski works very hard and diligently with some of our students at Miller. And excellent language proficiency is an award given to students that speak a different language in the home setting and achieve high performance on state standardized tests in listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and gives an overall composite score. And students that have shown a tremendous amount of growth from last school year are, starting in 5th grade, Brandon Madrid. Come on up. Bella Ortiz, Carolina Pisano, Camille Shimowski, Yanis Tnadu, Christian Gomez, Samutka Vishwanath, and Angelica Espinal. Come on up to be recognized. Congratulations. We will call the rest down tomorrow morning at school. Thank you. Our second group, parents come on up and take some pictures. Thank you very much. You guys can have a seat. Our next two groups are students that we recognize at the end of each quarter, and we've gone through 2 quarters so far, and that is the prestigious Miller Citizen and Scholar Awards. We're first going to highlight our Miller student citizens. Students that are good citizens, that get the Good Citizen Award, have made it their priority to do one of many or all of the following things. They volunteer in school, they're honest all the time, they follow expectations, they respect the thoughts and feelings of others. They try to gain a new world perspective of their surroundings. They respect others' property. They're compassionate. They take responsibility of their actions all the time. And they're just a good friend. So we'd like to highlight the teachers nominated a student from first quarter and a student from second quarter in each of our 13 classrooms. So we're going to start in 5th grade. Rafael Castrillon and Bella Ortiz from Miss Alexander's class. Come on up, and please stay up here. From Mrs. Jones' 5th grade class, Addison Haesline and Camille Shimowski. Come on up. From Miss Offrey's class in 4th grade, Michelle Hernandez and Jacqueline Torres. In Mr. Ritt's 4th grade class, Grace Detente and Skamutka Vishwanath. In Miss Garcia's 3rd grade class, Abigail Martinez and Jacob Vasquez. Awesome. In Mrs. Kajawa's 3rd grade class, Will Graham and Moises Mendez. You have a follower. He's a couple years away. 2nd grade, Mrs. Gonzalez's class, Sydney Lesko and Gavin Fleming. Woo-hoo. In Mrs. Cadella's class, 2nd grade class, Vishap Chani and Bilal Zaru. Come on up. In Miss Ottman's 1st grade class, John Russ and Alexandra Steflikova. In Miss Sanchez's 1st grade class, Jasmine Vargas and Jillian Walleen. In Mrs. Garcia's kindergarten class, Caden Curran and Amelia Manceveas. Mrs. Hatterberg's kindergarten class, Ben Griskovac and Bennett Jerskowski. Come on up. And our last kindergarten class, Mrs. Josowitz's room, Macy Elliott and Casey Jimenia. That is our list of Miller citizens from 1st semester. Please give them a big round of applause. And please take some pictures. Please smile for your families one more time. Yeah. Thank you so much, our Miller citizens. Go ahead and have a seat. We really appreciate you being here tonight. Our next group is our Miller Scholar Award. It takes more than just good grades to be a Miller Scholar. Good scholars show enthusiasm for learning, focused, they're driven, they go above and beyond teachers' expectations, they enhance the classroom, they have discussions at higher levels, they're tenacious, they never give up. And so tonight we want to celebrate students from 1st semester that had teachers see some of those characteristics in them as our Miller Scholar Award. Starting in 5th grade, Jose Duran and Carter Sullivan in Mrs. Alexander's 5th grade class. Come on up. In Mrs. Jones' 5th grade class, Sophia Daskalov and Aiden Nimeth. Come on up. In Miss Afre's fourth grade class, Angel Garcia and Elizabeth Martinez. In Mr. Ritt's fourth grade class, Nyla Burns and Leon Fung. Come on up. In Miss Garcia's third grade class, Luke Jimenea and Josie Walleen. In Miss Kajawa's third grade class, Ava Elsner and Vedanshi Jani. In Mrs. Gonzalez's second grade class, Francesca Giuliano and James Wilson. In Mrs. Cadella's second grade class, Aylin Anderson and Natalia Daskalov. In Miss Ottman's first grade class, Gavin Crowley and Millie Herbscher. In Mrs. Sanchez's first grade class, Haley Jones and Tommy Robbins. In Mrs. Garcia's kindergarten class, Annie Franklin and Greta Herbscher. In Miss Hatterberg's class in kindergarten, Brandon Baruki and Austin Riebling. And our final kindergarten class from Miss Joswitz's room, Hope Clark and Brooke Moscow. Come on up, and that is our Miller Scholars from first semester.
The lights are hot.
One more big smile for your parents and families.
Good job.
Yes. Yeah, I knew one of them had a procedure done today. I don't know about the other one. Okay. Thank you so much. You guys can have a seat. One more round of applause. Yeah. Our final group is a group we've been trying to recognize as we look at assessments and standardized testing. One thing that we have that connects to the closest thing to a school report card is our MAP assessments, and students are recognized in this final group for being in the top 5% of our MAP assessment in reading and math based on students that take this assessment in the entire nation. So they're in the top 5% of the students in the entire country. So please join me in introducing our 5th grade students. Aiden Nemeth, Camille Shimowski, come on up. Our 4th grade students, Grace Detenti, Leon Fung, Keshev Viswanath, George Welson, and Zayed Zaru. Our third grade group, Eric Alvarez and Alec Hughes. Our second grade group, Aylin Anderson, Daniela Garcia Davalos, Logan Judd, Logan Moscow, James Welson, and Lucas Roble. Second graders, come on up. Our first grade group is Louis Alday and Tommy Robbins. And our final group are kindergartners, Nicole Basti, Annie Franklin, Zoe Hayes, Greta Herbscher, Lila Huzinga, and Austin Riebling. These are students that performed in the top 5% on our MAP reading and math tests. Thank you very much. Awesome job, students. One big smile for your families, please. Oh, sure. Yeah. Awesome job, Miller Mustangs. Go ahead and have a seat. We are super proud of all the students recognized tonight. A quick announcement for any Miller and Manning families. If you got here a little late and your child did not receive their award, come on up now and we can get it to you before the junior high takes the stage. Any takers? Perfect. All right. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Jonak, principal of Westmont Junior High School. Thank you so much.
Hello and thank you, and thanks for this opportunity from the Board of Education to recognize our students at Westmont Junior High School. So I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to have some students come forward. We have 4 different teams: the 6th grade team, 7th grade team, 8th grade team, and the exploratory and PE team. And so we're going to have the students come forward, then I'll explain why they're standing up here. So first, from the 6th grade team, I'd like to have Dasha Savchuk come up, followed by Danielle Hoover, Lauren Mellish, Alondra Vargas, Briggs Templeton, Rocco D'Amato, Alexander Konoff, Ken Clinton, Allie Judd, and Charlie Cozart. These are our 6th grade students of the month. The 6th grade team wanted to acknowledge these 6th grade students. These young men and women have shown leadership skills since the onset of 6th grade. Despite the trials and tribulations that accompany adolescence, they continue to persevere. These students exhibit Panther Path attributes, including respect of their teachers and peers and responsibility to complete their classwork. Many of these students have achieved honor roll or high honor roll. They demonstrate positive effort and positive attitudes in all content areas. The sixth grade team is very proud of their Students of the Month. Let's give it up for them. Good job, guys. And now our seventh grade students, please come up if I call your name. Michelle Naom, Daphne Barkin, Anna Slowinski, Wyatt Riema, Faisal Abulela, Callie Devine, Noah Grimm, Natasha Shamarina Edge, Macy Baruki, Nicole Jonekis, Denali Belmonte, Luke Kessner, Ivy Ho, and Tremaya Goody. All right, and so these are our seventh grade Panther superstars. The team wanted to recognize these students who are excelling academically, participating in clubs and activities, and have been leaders and role models with their peers. These achievements represent Panther values in the best possible way. So please join me in congratulating our Panther superstars, the seventh graders. All right, thank you, seventh grade. And next, I've got a couple of seventh graders to call up, but the rest are eighth graders. The eighth grade wanted to do this a little differently. So I'd like to have the following students up: Sydney Thibodeau, Annika Engstrom, Tim Rosland, Delaney Dunlap, Matt Picard, Isabella Consiglio, Henry O'Connor, Nicole Kristofiak, Yara Guzman, and Lily Kastner. So as I said, the eighth grade team wanted to do things a little bit differently this year. They wanted to acknowledge these students. There are a couple seventh graders, the rest are eighth graders, for being chosen to help plan and lead the 2019 Operation Snowflake program. These students volunteered, applied, and interviewed in order to be considered for this leadership position. The annual success of this snow program is directly related to the hard work and the effort of students such as those before you. Congratulations and thank you. Thanks, Snowflake. All right, and now we come to the exploratory team. We're going to break things up a little bit. If I could have Mr. Tim Rosland to the stage. Is Tim out there? All right. I told you to stay up here, Tim. No, I didn't, actually. So Tim was selected to perform at the North Shore Concert Band. It's a professional group. At their upcoming concert, well, back when this was written, it was upcoming, but it was actually on February 10th, and it was at Northwestern University. Tim represented Westmont Junior High School on the trombone. Congratulations, and thank you, Tim. Thanks, Tim. I think you're good now. I'm double checking. All right, and now continuing with the exploratory team, on Saturday, and that was September 29th, 2018, over 850 junior high, middle school musicians auditioned for the ILMEA, the Illinois Music Educators Association District 1 Honor Festival. Now I'd like to call up some of the students that represented us in that way. Michaela Kim, Lucy Kubik, Natasha Shamarina Edge, Ivan Hayes, Abraham Johnson, Luke Kessner, and Joey Dooley. Please come to the stage. There must be a musical event going on tonight. You're not supposed to be here, you're late. So the District 1, this festival, includes schools throughout most of Chicagoland, and the festivals feature the area's top junior high music students. 7 Westmont Junior High School singers successfully auditioned on Saturday, that's November 11th, 2018, and attended the festival. The festival day began with extended rehearsals and ended with a culminating concert. Congratulations to these students for representing the junior high for their wonderful performance at the festival. And also, I'd like to specifically note that Joey Dooley was chosen to sing as a soloist during that festival. Congratulations. Good to go, guys. Thank you. Next, I'd like to have Abby Strohmeyer please come to the stage. Abby is just coming to the stage because she's a presence in our hallways. No, actually, the exploratory team wanted to recognize Abby because she ended up putting in for a community contest. So because of her artwork, she was chosen by the Westmont Lions Club to have her poster represent the Peace Poster Contest winner, and it was placed throughout for the Lions Club. Congratulations, Abby.
Before we get to the high school, John, would you stay here for a second?
Yeah, yes.
We'd like to take a moment to recognize John Jonak, Westmont Junior High School Principal. John received the DuPage IPA Reaching Out and Building Bridges Award from the DuPage Illinois Principal Association. Mr. Jonak is being recognized for his work in creating a partnership between Westmont Junior High School and with the community organization Hope for the Day. Congratulations, John.
Thank you. Thanks. And now it's my pleasure to have Mr. Balderman, the high school principal, come to the stage.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. It's great to be with you and to see our young people honored. Thank you to Superintendent Carey and our Board of Education for making this possible. Since I was with the Board of Education last, I'm very proud to announce that Westmont High School was named by the Illinois State Board of Education as an exemplary school, and that's quite an honor. There's a lot of great schools in the state that did not earn that distinction. And also on behalf of our teachers and students who really worked tremendously hard, the J. Matthews Challenge Index from the Washington Post is the oldest ranking system of high schools in the United States. And this past week, Westmont was ranked number 3 out of 700 high schools in Illinois and the number 1 regular high school in the state of Illinois. So we're very proud of the work. So tonight we have some of our wonderful students who are representative of the incredible work that our teachers and students do. Thank you to the board, Superintendent Carey, our fellow administrators in this district, and of course to our school community and our parents for all you do to make this possible. First, we have, and I know there's a couple students who are at Scholastic Bowl tonight, so they may not be present, but we have a good number of our students here. We're very grateful, and their parents. First, we have Carlos Lalonde, who won the regional writing contest with the VFW. Carlos. Here he comes. He's also an amazing member of our band program and a great young man. Continuing with the music trend, we were very fortunate to have 3 students who were named to the All-State Choir. And this is quite an honor. It was a 2.5-day event downstate Illinois, and some schools don't even have 1 student represented. But we were fortunate to have 3 students chosen for All-State Choir. First of all, Anika Bupalam. Who will be in the lead role of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz that premieres this weekend, February 15th, 16th, and 17th. Please come out and see that great show. Next, we have Haley Grimm, who was also All-State Honors Choir. Haley. She's also featured in The Wizard of Oz. I believe she's the Cowardly Lion, so that's going to be wonderful to see. And next up, All-State Honors Choir, Jake Torrens, who also, talk about a talented young man, was also the regional wrestling champion. And he's going downstate as an alternate, so he can sing, he can wrestle, he's a great student and young man. Congratulations to these fine students. Let's hear it for them. Yes. Thank you very much, students. Great job. We're very proud of you. Next up, we have our class of 2019 Illinois State Scholars. And 10% of the students statewide are recognized as Illinois State Scholars. We're fortunate to have 15% of our class recognized. So, and before I get to mention these individuals, I just want to say, this senior class has just been exceptional. And I've been a principal for 26 years so far. And I may not look that old, but I am. People, yeah, okay, so. However, in addition to amazing academic work that help us to earn this exemplary rating, this, as good of a class as I've ever seen when it comes to their demeanor, their discipline, and just their decency towards each other. No school or no class of people is perfect, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention just how truly exceptional they are. And when I'm up on this stage in just a few short months when they graduate, it's going to be very difficult to say goodbye to them. But these are the students who represent us tonight, but they represent an amazing group of students who throughout their 4 years have just done some incredible work. And, you know, we always talk about it's not enough just to be intelligent and hardworking. You have to have your heart in the right place and care about others. And this class really exemplifies that. So, here are our Illinois State Scholars for the class of 2019. First, we have Caden Anderson. Caden is also a member of our boys varsity basketball team that has had an outstanding season. Next, Benjamin Boxell. Another incredible leader from this class. Another outstanding student and student leader, Adam Catris. Adam. The next student is at Scholastic Bowl, as I mentioned, so couldn't be here tonight, but he deserves to be recognized, Connor Duquette. I believe Luke is also on Scholastic Bowl, but our next state scholar is Luke Gifford. Another outstanding student and leader in our class, Molly Johnson. Is Molly here? Next, Illinois State Scholar, Andrea Krebers. Colin Larkin, outstanding citizen and student here at Westmont High School. Ashley Liljeberg, congratulations. Also in our upcoming musical, an Illinois State Scholar, Kyle Nguyen. Matthew O'Leary, a member of our boys varsity basketball team and another great citizen from this class. Next, we have Benjamin Paget, who's a leader in our student government and an outstanding student leader. Congratulations, Ben. Another fine leader in our building, an Illinois State Scholar, Katie Schultz. Next, we're very proud to announce Anita Vasquez, great student and student leader. Next, Sean Walsh. Sean here. Very proud of Sean, also a member of the varsity wrestling team this year. And last of our Illinois State Scholars, Stephanie Tenorio Zavala. Congratulations, Stephanie, a leader on our dance team. Thank you to our parents for being here and supporting these amazing students. Members of this class, we're just so proud of you. You are incredible. So thank you very much for all your hard work.
Before we move on, did anybody arrive a little bit late that needs to be recognized? All right, thank you all for coming, parents. We're going to start the meeting now. You are certainly welcome to stay or not. We're going to carry on with the meeting. The next item is approval of minutes. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the January 22nd, 2019 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the January 22nd, 2019 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, are there any public comments? And then we're going to move on to the consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Number one, personnel recommendation, stipend position, David Menezes, senior high school varsity girls soccer coach. And number two, policy, second reading.
Maria, I'm sorry, I show the personnel recommendations under discussion. My consent
Well,
agenda only has...
didn't it get moved?
Yeah, it got moved.
It was there last Friday. I thought we moved it.
It's under personnel. Personnel's under personnel.
Do you,
I don't have any discussion on it, just, I mean, the consent agenda on my screen only
okay,
says policy second
that
reading.
was
Refresh
something,
your screen. F5?
I did it when I got here tonight.
What's that?
I logged in this evening.
it's not on mine either.
I just have it under consent.
I mean, it's fine, I
Okay.
just,
No, that was something I found on Friday, and
Right,
it was,
and we
it
had
was,
it changed.
it was changed,
Was
but,
changed
It
because
is
it was changed when I looked at it earlier
okay,
today.
but for
so-
some reason, it's not showing up on our
It's the craziest
screen.
thing.
So, yes, it was taken off as a discussion item, and it's
And it was
supposed to
put
be
into
here
consent
under
agenda.
consent agenda.
okay.
So, apparently, we have an older version in here, so. Okay, so that was it, the two items. And then roll call, please?
We need
Oh,
So moved.
sorry.
So moved.
What, yeah,
Second?
and then roll call, please.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the first item for discussion is kindergarten and first grade update.
Yeah, see, but it was there early, it was there earlier.
Hello. Thank you, board members, for the opportunity to share with you about our fabulous kindergarten program. My name is Mary Roth. We were going to have additional speakers here today, but they couldn't be here because of the weather. So I'm going to speak on behalf of the kindergarten program at both Manning and Miller. I teach full-day kindergarten at Manning. I'm with the district 14 years. I also held a role as a reading specialist. This is the 6th year the district has offered full-day kindergarten program. This is the first year the district needed to add a monolingual class at Miller because of increased enrollment. Miller now has one dual language program and 2 monolingual programs for a total of 55 kindergarten students at Miller. Manning has 3 monolingual kindergarten classes for a total of 62 students. This is the largest number of students at the kindergarten level that we have witnessed. Kathy Josowitz, who was going to speak here this evening, is a current kindergarten teacher at Miller School and also a previous first grade teacher at that school. She has worked with students from the half-day kindergarten program and then later students with the full-day program. Along with the adoption of the Common Core state standards, full-day kindergarten raised the bar for first grade. Students came in much more prepared for the daily routines, rigor, and activities of first grade, and their academic levels were generally higher. Some of the benefits of a full-day kindergarten program include routines that are practiced, i.e. boots, coats, lunch, extra recess, social skills, more literacy and math minutes per day, writing skills generally improve, and the implement of our social emotional learning curriculum. We would also like to take this time right now to highly encourage the community to please register your children for kindergarten. This is very important. We need to know how many kindergartners are out there. Please mark your calendars for March 5th through the 11th to register. If you cannot make it in, please call the school office. Miller will have 2 kindergarten meetings about their programs. On Monday, February 25th, one time will be from 5 to 5:30 or 7 to 7:30. Families can look around the school, speak with teachers, look around the classrooms, and they can do that from 6 to 7 on that Monday, February 25th. Manning will have a kindergarten meeting about their program on Monday, March 4th from 5 to 6 p.m. Families can look around the school, visit the classrooms, and speak with teachers between 6 and 7 p.m. Again, registration for incoming kindergarten is March 5th through the 11th. If you have any questions, please call the school office, the business office, or feel free to reach out to me or any one of the kindergarten teachers. Any questions? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity. We really appreciate
Well,
it.
thank you, because one of the things we had said was we had been talking about, the programs that we've added as a district. So we were interested to hear what the teachers thought of all-day kindergarten. I was actually wrote a note. This is the 6th year of full-day kindergarten. It seems like that was not that long ago.
It
So-
doesn't seem that long ago. Yes, 6 years. It's really a large benefit. We do have kids that enroll in half-day. There is a difference, not always in academics, but as far as social skills go, relating to others. Do they catch up? Yes, they probably eventually catch up by 2nd or 3rd grade. But for the most part, the kindergarten students love being there all day. They really do. And if any parents out there have any questions or concerns about a full-day program, certainly reach out to any one of the kindergarten teachers through email or phone call. We're happy to talk to you at any time. Even if you're new incoming parents, they may have a lot of questions. We're here to help answer those questions.
Well, thank you. Again, we had talked about like how did that move our district forward in bringing that in. So thank you for
Well,
coming
thank
and
you to the
talking
board
about
for
that.
giving us that opportunity because, you know, it includes space and staffing and a bunch of other things go into it. So we thank you for that.
So thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is for discussion or presentation is State of Westmont Junior High School. Mr. Jonak? Yeah, let's.
First, I thought it was something that I said. But I do want to take a moment and say thank you. I love where I work. I love my job. I'm very fortunate. And on a regular basis, I'm pretty sure that you don't get paid for being in the Board of Education. And on a regular basis, you're making decisions that impact our schools and our kids more than anything else. And so I think it's important to take this time once a year, minimally, to let you know what the state of Westmont Junior High School is. And things are going really well, and that's because of the support and the decisions that you're making. So to start off, I just want to say thanks for the opportunity to present it, and thank you for having me be the principal at Westmont Junior High School. And so when we look at Westmont Junior High School, we fall underneath the mission and the vision of CUSD 201. That way we keep it simple. It really comes down to empowering and educating our students. We're trying to prepare them academically for their future and then also socially and make them responsible. We fall underneath that CUSD 201 small giant footprint as well. We want innovation. We want our students to be able to explore and to learn and grow. And so to break down the presentation that I have for you today, I'm going to break it down into what I consider the 3 umbrellas underneath schools. And that is first academics, and these are in no specific order, but academics, innovation, and then the social emotional learning. There's those 3 things, and that's really what everything falls underneath for me. And then we'll talk about updates on programs. The Panthers in Action, I have a nice little video for you to some music, and cover any questions that you might have. And so we'll go first with the academics. And so where are we at in regards to our PARCC assessment? Right now, the junior high school is at for ELA, as a school, where 57% of our students are meeting or exceeding the state standards in English language arts, 45% in mathematics. So what does that look like over time? So when I first came here, my first year, we were at 32%. We were ranked in the 32nd and above percent of schools in the state of Illinois. And then over time, as you see, 31st in that 31st percentile, and that's meaning positive, in the top 31%, in the top 17%, 15%, 17%. And last year, we were at the top 14% of all schools according to School Digger. Next, another assessment that we have besides the PARCC is the ISA, the Illinois Science Assessment. And over the last few years, we've been going between 79, 80, and 81%. And so as you can see right there, we have 81% of our students are meeting and exceeding, or are proficient as far as the ISA is concerned. I showed you what the state average is up there, being the 51% of students in the state proficient. So we're 30 percentage points above that. So I believe our science programs are going strong, and that's because all the way from elementary all the way up through 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And this assessment is only taken in 8th grade in the junior high level. Next, our school goal, and it was a 2-year goal, was that by the end, for this spring, when we take our map, that 70% of our students are going to meet or exceed their projected RIT growth goal. And that is based on where they're at when they come to us and when they're at when they're leaving us. And then we would like to see, as a stretch goal, 100% of our students on the NWEA MAP assessment making some sort of growth. Currently, where are we at from fall into winter? For math, we're at 54%, and reading, we're at 53%. So, of course, we're trying to shoot for that 70%. How are we doing that? Part of what we do is through our STAR classes. And this year, one thing that we incorporated into our STAR class, which this is more like a flexible time, as you can see, there's a lot of things that occur during this STAR class, is student conferencing. So whether it's our STAR teachers meeting with our students or our math and literacy teachers meeting with our students, they're going over kind of where they're at, where they're at in regards to MAP and how they're doing on the MAP, and setting different goals with them, setting target areas with the students too. This takes a long time, and sometimes we need to get substitutes, or like Diana Moby, who's my assistant principal right now while Amy is gone. She's been going in and subbing as well so that teachers can pull students and have those kind of conversations. As you can see, a lot of things are covered in this STAR class, which include that social emotional learning time, which I'll hit a little bit later. But when we talk about our student service learning commitment, which you know that our students, as you agreed to, our students need to have 36 hours by the time they walk the stage as an 8th grader. Most of them are much more. That is tracked during that STAR time, along with the social emotional learning, the team building, work time, executive functioning skills, and such. So the next umbrella is innovation. So one of the ways that we continue to be innovative is with our different E-period classes. Last year, we had Future City brought to the table. We did that again this year. And so as we are meeting the needs of our students that are not necessarily, that are needing a little bit more help in math and literacy, we also have our E-period classes. And so those E-period classes are on a rotating basis, anywhere from 10 days long, about 35 minutes a day, so 10 days long, all the way to 18 days long. And so students get to continuously choose what they'd like to do. Something different this year that we haven't done in the past is these E-period classes are multi-grade level, so 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And that's a great opportunity. That just means more choice for our students. So these are just a few of our choices, but honestly, over the course of the year, there's probably close to about 90 to 100 different E-period classes that take place. I set up the survey every rotation, and so students get to choose between their first, second, or third choice, and I believe most students get their first, if not their second choice, which is pretty nice. So another way we're innovative, what's in a SIP day? Before we had 17-minute classes. Didn't make a lot of sense. And so now we have a different rotation. So as you can see, for October, we had our 6th graders learning a little bit more about Westmont Junior High School and going and visiting, or having People's Resource Center come out and visit us. We had financial literacy that we work with an organization called Junior Achievement to help implement that. And our 8th grade went to Feed My Starving Children. As you can see, there's a mixture of anywhere from bowling and Laser Quest, and they do actually work on lasers, to career days, financial literacy, and then Feed My Starving Children. This last time, the 7th grade got to choose. They went to 2 out of 3. They got to see a muralist, this fine line, which is a basket weaver or a welder, and work on different things. It was a great experience for all of our students, something that we hadn't done before. You'll be able to see some pictures in just a little bit. Then, of course, we're going to be kicking off not kicking off, but ending the school year with our walkathon. We usually have that at the beginning of the school year. Technology is another way. And so, as you know, the district has invested in one-on-one Chromebooks at the junior high school level, and we continue to have bring your own device. We've added an A to that STEM class, and we make it into a STEAM now. And so I have my media specialist working with my art teacher for that. That's something new to this year. We're working with Mastery Connect and building assessments and taking data mining from that. And as you can see, we've incorporated something called Study Island. So Study Island's nice because it talks to NWEA MAP, and it notices the different deficiencies that a student may have, an individual student may have, and then it builds up programming for that student. So students can work on that in STAR class, before school, after school. They can work on that at home as well if they'd like to boost that MAP score and to become more proficient. And then, of course, Smart Service. I think one of the best compliments that we received lately, or most recently, is that our Smart Service team, which we just put on Facebook, we have 6 members now, 4 that have been around for a while, 2 that we just added that are 6th graders, that we're practically self-sufficient at the junior high school because they work on the different Chromebooks. Now, as I say that, you notice in the orange off to the side there, Nadine Norris and her tech team do so much. They drop everything to take care of the needs of our students, myself. I'm asking, hey, we need to figure out something different for our songs in the hallway to continue to motivate our students and have that. And boom, it's taken care of. Our technology issues, taken care of. It just constantly. And so it's really nice. I have been in different districts where there's been walls that have been built up around technology, and it's really nice to be working with Nadine and her staff in a place that we're able to explore different things and be innovative. So in regards to the community investment that falls under innovation, as you heard, we continue to work with Hope for the Day. On the 23rd of February, we are hosting the regional model water competition. And that's our 3rd year that we're doing that. Our speakers corner, we're having people come in from that, the service learning. And many of you have either come into my school or had a spouse maybe come into my school and teach an E-period or graded different papers. You maybe have come for a Renaissance fair. And then this year, and I'll talk a little bit more about it, in partnership with our PTO, we're having parent universities, and we're having our first book study too. So we're kind of excited about that. And now that next umbrella is the social emotional learning. So of course we're going to have a picture of Emmy. What would you expect? And so an update on Emmy. She was supposed to be going to her Canine Good Citizen class tonight. Otherwise she would have been here. What does it look like? This is the slide that I shared with you back when I presented this to the board, this plan to the Board of Education. So right now we are on schedule, although this class has been pushed off because it was canceled again tonight. So she's working on her Canine Good Citizen training. We're looking for her to take that test in a couple of months at the end of that, and then we start the plan for that enhanced training once she turns 1 year old. Last Tuesday, I had a great opportunity to present along with the veterinarian, that's the urban pet vet down in downtown Westmont, Dr. Jess Turek. And we got to present a little bit about service animals and Emmy, and the Lions has said that they are interested in sponsoring Emmy and having a partnership with that. So we're looking forward to doing that as well. So what does social emotional learning look like at Westmont Junior High School? Some of these you've seen. Snowflake continues to be just part of that foundation that I think is extremely important. And I've seen that evolve over the time, over my 6.5, almost 7 years in the district, and I love it. We have worked with Hope for the Day to give all of our teachers this mental health training as well, and that happened at the beginning of the school year. We're taking steps to be a trauma-informed school. And then my social worker, Mrs. Amanda Winter, she continues to work individually with groups, small groups, and go into those STAR classes and resource classes as well. Of course, with SEL, Emmy is embedded into that. Emmy, we just went into a literacy classroom, Miss Johnson's literacy classroom, and they plugged away. They interviewed myself and got to spend some time with Emmy. Emmy fits into different places that I didn't know that we had needs. And I mean that not just for our students, but also for our staff members. It's amazing what a little Emmy time does for just about everybody in that building, just about. So 5 essentials. This is another data point for us. And 5 essentials reflect that over the past 6 to 7 years, we have continually improved and continued to work on things. Now, this next window is just about closed for our 2019 results. So I'm just going to put out there one more blast. I am looking for our parents to help us beat C.E. Miller Elementary School. So parents, if you haven't taken the 5 essentials survey, please do that right now for us. But as you can see, a lot of positive things going on and supporting Westmont Junior High School, and that means that our kids are having a great experience. Discipline data, this trend data shows that our discipline referrals are going down. That doesn't mean that we still don't have difficult days. Like yesterday, I had to give a couple of in-school suspensions. Not excited about those things, but we still need to hold our students accountable when they are making poor choices. But as you can see, this is definitely a positive trend for Westmont Junior High School. And now I just wanted to make a plug because, as I said, our partnership with the PTO, we've worked with Detective Glynn and then a community member as well, Mr. Lehman. In the fall, we had a parent night about social media and your child or your teenager. We're about to have tomorrow night, by the way, at 6 o'clock at Westmont Junior High School in the Media Center, Raising a Resilient Team, and that is something that Hope for the Day is going to help partner up with us and host at Westmont Junior High School, and then a PTO after that. And then Screenagers is coming on March 18th, and that is an entire community event, but Westmont Junior High School has been putting it together for the entire district. So that'll be March 18th, and more information to come out there. Lastly, this How to Raise an Adult, and I'm very interested in this book because I got 2 little ones at home. There's not anybody there that is a professor in this area. So we're all learning, we're having a discussion, but we're going to be releasing this tomorrow as well, tomorrow night. That we're going to do a parent book study over the course of 4 different nights in reading this book together and talking about it and learning from one another. So this will be before our PTO nights, or before our PTO evenings. And then, of course, you heard about the Reaching Out and Building Bridges Award. We're very excited about this. This partnership with Hope for the Day started with Nancy Bartos, and it continues with other teachers like Emily Hillertz, our PE teacher, and other teachers in our school. So we're really excited to work with Carl Evans and all of Hope for the Day. So updates on our program. The Professional Learning Network, this is the 4th year that this local principal professional learning network that I created it and facilitated it, and now we have over 30 members. We're doing great things for our schools. We're sharing and learning from one another, and we're putting on some great events. This year, we had our literacy, science, social studies, and math teachers come together and learn from one another. That's something that's fantastic. For 2.5 hours, they sat, they talked about their specific content area, and they learned and they grew. Next, our BLT, that's not a sandwich, that's the Building Leadership Team. We're working together on this Panther reboot. So what does our school look like 4 years from now? And that was 4 years from the date we started it, November 28th, 2018. So what does November 28th, 2022 look like? And so we are putting that all together as a building leadership team. Part of that is we need the data that we're going to be receiving. We put together an application for a national designation. So we're going to be audited on February 28th, 2019 by this group called Illinois Horizon Schools to Watch. And so the Schools to Watch team is coming out, professors from ISU. We have principals, teacher leaders that are coming, and they're looking at everything that makes up Westmont Junior High School. The great thing about it is at the end of it, they determine whether we get that designation as a school, National Schools to Watch or not. But even better than whether we get that designation or not is that we get their data, we get their feedback. These are people that know middle school. It's under AIMS, so that's the Association of Illinois Middle Level Schools. So they know middle school, they know junior high, they know what it looks like, they know how it ticks. And so these are people that are going to be able to look in and give us a really great idea of what's going on and what things we need to improve upon and what things we need to sustain. I had a great opportunity to go and do this at another school, and it was eye-opening. So I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say about it. And then as I talked about that PLN, we have our Ed Camp. If you notice there, we've got an audit on the 28th, and then we've got this big Ed Camp that we're going to have over 100 educators in Westmont Junior High School the very next day. Some people would call that poor planning. I just call that a challenge. But we're going to have over 100. Right now, it's somewhere around 120 educators that are going to be at Westmont Junior High School from all around DuPage and outside of DuPage area, some people from Kane and Cook County. Once again, all middle level, we learn, we grow, and it's really a great day. So we're looking forward to spending that time together. And so now I'd like to share a little bit about our Panthers in action. Hopefully the music sounds pretty good here. And this is from our theme song, Have It All.
May you have auspiciousness and causes of success. May you have the confidence to always do your best. May it take no effort in your being generous, sharing what you can, nothing more, nothing less. May you know the meaning of the word happiness. May you always lead from the beating in your chest. May you be treated like an esteemed guest. May you get to rest, may you catch your breath. May the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. Whoa. May the road less paved be the road that you follow. Oh, well, here's to the hearts that you're gonna break. Here's to the lives that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. You don't need money, you got a free pass. Here's to the fact that I'd be sad without you. I want you to have it all. As a slap bracelet, may you keep the chaos and the clutter off your desk. May you have unquestionable health and less stress. Having no possessions, though immeasurable wealth. May you get a gold star on your next test. May your educated guesses always be correct. And may you win prizes shining like diamonds. May you really own it each moment to the next. May the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. Whoa. May the road less paved be the road that you follow. Oh, well, here's to the hearts that you're gonna break. Here's to the lives that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. You don't need money, you got a free pass. Here's to the fact that I'll be sad without you. I want you to have it all. Can imagine, oh, no matter what your path is, if you believe it, then anything can happen. Go, 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 raise your glasses, go, 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 you can have it, oh. I toast you, here's to the hearts that you're gonna break. Here's to the lives that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have gonna have. Here's to you always making me laugh. Here's to the fact that I'd be sad without you. I want you to have it all.
All right, and at this time, if there's any questions. Oh, sure. I guess you do need microphones in order to do that. And then there is a handout that's going to be passed down, and the handouts are, thank you. The handouts are the at-a-glance snapshot of Westmont Junior High School and what that looks like, and then also something that we passed out to our to the realtors for the realtor fair, and that we have at the table during the summer when we're talking about the great things going on at Westmont Junior High School. So some highlights.
I don't really have any specific questions, just more compliments, I would say. It seems, there's just a much better attitude in that building the last several years that you've been here. And clearly, all the programs that are being, put back in is very important, and the programs that are being added, seems like the students are very happy and achieving a very good level. So I keep it up. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, Gary.
John, how long is your day?
How long is my?
How long is your day? That seems like a 30-hour day.
It all depends.
I'm kidding.
Some days.
Thank you, though. Thank you. There does seem to be a lot of really positive things going on in the junior high, like a lot of really good things. And thank you and everyone that is at the junior high.
I will. I'll pass that on to them. Thanks.
Is that video available anywhere?
Absolutely. I can put that on our Facebook site, so
Okay, that'd be
people
great.
could access it that way and be able to watch it. I'll put the whole slide on there because I'm sure they'd like to see
Yeah,
it.
that would be really good.
Okay,
Thank you.
fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the next item for discussion will be the data center refresh of server and storage equipment.
Mr. Carey, the Board of Education, compared to the wonderful, exciting things that you've had in our meeting today, this is going to be a little boring. I'm here to provide any information or answer any questions with regard to our plans for refreshing our server hardware. One of the most important parts of our technology network is our storage and our servers. And as you can see that from the information presented in your packet, our current network hardware is about 8 years old, so it's time for refresh. So what we have, based on our research, what we plan to do is purchase from CDW a server system that includes hardware from Hewlett-Packard, and that includes a hardware that is 10 virtual servers, a storage piece of storage hardware called a SAN, battery backups, and the server software that is needed for that system. In addition to that, we're going to get some help from CDW to get all that that system converted over from our current system. So if you have any questions about that particular purchase, I'm happy to.
Well, I guess my initial question would be, did we plan for this? Did we budget this?
The answer, the answer is yes. This is part of our typical plan for refresh. Yeah, this is just part of our refresh cycle. So the money for this program is within my annual budget.
I would like to say thank you for this memo that you gave us, and it is nice to see that we are, proactively working on this as we are using more and more technology on a daily basis, students, staff, and everybody. So it is nice to see that we will be growing and providing students with the ability to use all the devices that we have. So
yeah, this program is a high-end program, and it provides the latest in technology for our servers.
So this will be an action item at the next
Yeah.
board meeting, so. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Hi.
Okay, I'm sure everyone's ready for this conversation. The next one is the 2018 and 19, our current school year, and a discussion about the remote learning.
Right. And we already kind of shared with our community this year, somewhat unique. We've used several emergency days already. And so right now, if everything were to remain the same and we don't use any more, we'd be looking at the last day of school being June 6th, 2019. A lot of things then shift accordingly. Finals at the high school for our junior, sophomore, and freshmen would be in June 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then graduation at the high school would still remain the same, May 28th, but then the junior high graduation would be shifting to June 4th. And the other things that the board can anticipate, you signed up for different end-of-the-year recognitions at the elementary schools. You can anticipate those shifting as well, and then we'll notify you of those dates as well. Some of the things that school districts are doing, and it was piloted by a couple districts for a couple years, and then now this year a few more districts are attempting it, and it's something that we've already started discussing with our Westmont Teachers Association. Is sometimes it's referred to as e-learning, or it can be called a remote learning, but taking advantage of the advances in technology. If you design work that students can do at home, then on those days when the school is closed and learning can take place, then a school doesn't have to make up the day at the end of the year. And so that's an option. That was actually kind of when they passed the evidence-based funding model, one of the things that occurred as well, they got away from, before it was always a school day was 5 hours of instruction. That was defined a school day. And a school, students had to be in session 176 days, at minimum 5-hour days. But with the new legislation, now it no longer defines what a school day is, but the local school district can define a school day. So if the school district wants to say that students learning at home through technology counts as a school day, then that can be used. One of the things that's occurring now, though, is there is some legislation that's being discussed. I think some people are concerned what that may mean long-term for education, what it looks like. And so there's a little bit of a pushback. And so we're kind of now waiting to see where the dust settles with it and see if that still will be an option. The other thing that school districts do is with notifying parents at the beginning of the school year, they let them know that some of those non-attendance days that are built in. So we have President's Day coming up on Monday, you have your spring break, different things that some districts opt to utilize those days instead of extending the school year. And again, that would be with notification, letting parents know that if no days are used between the start of the school year and President's Day, if there's a snow day, then students will be in session on President's Day. And then the same thing sometimes with the spring break. And so I did ask the WTA to survey their membership and see if that would be something that could be considered. And without officially doing the survey, Carrie Bauerlein, one of the co-presidents, is in the process of doing it. But she said they've already had conversations informally, and she thinks that that's something that the teachers would be in favor of as well. But those are some things we can consider going into next year as well.
Kevin, thank you for this. Before we get to talking too much more about the remote learning, as we talk about this school year, as you know, a lot of people are talking about this topic. And so when I want to remember this when we talk about the next
Sure.
item and I don't know, my opinion would be, and everybody can, is that if we could use like the President's Day or anything else that's in January or February, March, I would not be in favor of spring break because that's just such a hard thing for families to do because it's a whole week. So as we talk about next year's calendar, if we do like this idea, we could put like a great big, in
Right,
big,
right.
big letters,
Mhm,
that this is something that the district would be interested in. So again, for people planning things, at least you can get rid of that end of the school year.
Right.
As if whatever's going to happen with the future years. So
Right.
that is definitely something that I'm interested in. So if anyone else has any questions or wants to weigh in on any of that.
Well, in the future, I would like to at least investigate what that e-learning looks like if they allow it. I think it would be interesting. I do know there's some drawbacks. You know, not every family has the capability to do that, so that would be one drawback. But I don't want to go too far into that until the legislation makes up their mind. But I'd be more in favor, if the teachers are in favor of it, going with the switching the days off. I'm sure most families would go with that.
And we've already had some conversations with teachers about, if we were to go to this direction, what does that look like? It's definitely easier to do with 6 through 12 because we're one-to-one, students take home their devices. K through 5 will look a little different, but our teachers are already brainstorming what, things that they can do and communicate to parents of what that day would look like for younger learners as well.
I'm sorry, you're talking about this
Yeah, the remote
e-learning?
learning, e-learning.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if I'm crazy about that.
I-
To me, it just seems like, you're in using it to make up a day, basically.
Right.
It seems so spur of the moment that you always have to be prepared to do this if the weather's bad, and I just don't see how you manage that. I mean, that's something to talk about.
Right,
and maybe
right,
that
definitely.
sort of thing, but
Definitely.
to me, it seems kind of difficult, and I don't know if it would be really worth it for the event of, because many years we don't even have, weather-related days off, so it's,
Right.
maybe if there's some other utilization of that technology, that fits the curriculum and whatnot, that might be a way to get into that rather than just using it for that purpose.
Kevin,
Seems to
can
me
I,
that-
oh, go ahead.
Sorry. It seems to me that if that's a opportunity that is going to be afforded through the legislature, that we should be able to allow students that are interested in subject or a class or a learning endeavor that doesn't fit in their schedule, if we could utilize it that way as well, then it sure makes the other side of it make a lot more sense. But it doesn't on its own. I agree with Joel. I think it just on its own as a way out of an emergency day doesn't seem like a great option.
And to clarify what you were saying, so right now, our junior high and high school, they take their Chromebooks home with them
Correct.
every day.
Right.
But K through 5, they do not.
Right.
So
Right.
it would be one of those situations that would we have these kids bring it home every day on the chance that there might be?
No.
So,
Right, and they're for the younger grades, their work would be more traditional in terms of, they would read for so long, they would, possibly write a story. We do have some, because of the new ELA and math series we adopted, there are some, web-based exercises that students could do at home with those as well, and just informally, we think most of our families have access to a smart device, and have access to the internet. And so, there still, though, will be a small number that we'll have to think through and consider how we address their needs. But we think we can put together some things for students in K through 5 to do that's meaningful, it's connected to the curriculum, but doesn't necessarily necessitate them taking home a device.
so can I just ask Kevin that if this is something that we are contemplating for next year, could we have a presentation at a board meeting?
Sure.
When you all figure out
Right.
what, just so we can have that here, and then
Right.
we can ask questions and parents could see what it looks like. And of course, once we do that, we won't have snow days, you know.
Right, that's okay. And as Gary suggested too, it's kind of waiting a little bit to see what happens with the legislation and where that
That's
lands.
part of it. So just if we're going to do something before we do it,
Right, we
would
will definitely.
present it here.
Well, we would have a discussion with the board, because ultimately the board has to sign off on it before we'd be able to go forward with anything.
Any other questions?
Given that we're looking at this as a legislative issue, is there any idea on a calendar for that, or calendar place for that to be brought up in the legislature?
I know right now, there's a draft of a bill.
Right.
You know, but I don't know what the,
How far along it?
yeah, how far along it is.
Would this also have contractual issues possibly?
Possibly. I know some districts who are doing it already, there's an expectation that staff are online for a certain amount of time so that they're available to answer questions from parents and from students. And I think that's how they're working through some of the contractual issues with it.
Okay.
It would be interesting to hear from schools that are doing it or doing some test pilots to see
Sure.
what their
Experiences.
experiences are, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else? All right, then we'll move on to the next hot topic, the 2019-2020 school year calendar.
Right. And the calendar committee, we worked through some things, and so this would be the calendar proposal, calendar A and B, and really, there are many more similarities than differences, but with both calendars, the school year would start on August 19, 2019. That's when our staff would have their first institute. The first day of student attendance would be August 21st, 2019. The winter break would be from December 23rd, 2019 through January 3rd, 2020. Then the spring break would be March 30th, 2020 through April 3rd, 2020. And then, again, no emergency days and being needed. The last day of student attendance would be May 29th. So the line's very similar to what we've got currently. And then the only real difference that the committee was looking at was we always open the year with 2 institute days, and then we have another institute day later in the fall. And so they were either considering November 11th, which is Veterans Day, it's a Monday, or the other thing they were looking at, some districts have gone to having institute days on October 31st, which is Halloween. And as you know, from dealing with dietary issues and parties and different things, it makes some of that, navigating some of that a little bit easier. And then also as you have, some families who don't celebrate Halloween, it also addresses that because you have to have alternative activities for students when you have the various, Halloween parades and so forth. So that's why they were possibly considering that.
Kevin, right now, and I should know this, but right now, I know that PTOs have changed the parties. Do they currently have parties on Halloween?
They still have parties. They have the costume
That's
parade.
the costume parade.
They have the parade, and then when they go back to their classrooms, they have parties in their
So
classrooms.
are we going to get, like, our houses egged if we choose that one?
I don't know.
Would they just move it a day up?
That
maybe,
could be
you
too.
know?
You could have, right, that could happen.
So which of these two, I mean, is there one that the committee prefers, or?
I think because everything else is pretty much aligned, it really was more, I think they were also thinking in terms of the October 31st, what, parent response would be with regards to that, if that would be a hot button issue or not.
Well, my concern is that October 31st comes on a Thursday, so you're going to have the kids in school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, off Thursday, back on Friday. That's not really a good schedule, whereas Veterans Day is on a Monday, and you're winding up giving everybody a 3-day weekend.
Yeah. That's a winning formula.
That seems to work.
Sometimes,
I get the party thing, I get
Right.
the dietary thing, I understand all that. I do know some grade levels really get into that, some not as much. I know that's more of an individual classroom type of thing, but I just don't like the flow of the, off the Thursday and then back to school Friday, then off the weekend, when you could have a 3-day weekend for families, and that's just me.
You're right, some families do kind of look at that. They can, by taking the Friday, they can get a 4-day weekend and do a trip of some type.
We've already, the PTOs, the staff, the administrators have already been through, walked down the path of Halloween and dealt with whatever restrictions and observances come up. I think, like Gary said, to have a day off kind of randomly show up in the calendar, then I think adopting the idea of Halloween is probably not the best option, seeing as it falls on Saturdays and Sundays sometimes.
Sure.
So we are going to have to vote in a few minutes on which one we want. So what do you guys think as a whole before we do the vote, rather than, does the
Okay, so the calendar's basically the same beginning and end.
Right.
So
it's just,
the big difference
A would
is-
be November 11th off, B is October 31st.
It's one that third institute day is.
So that's what we're just, so that's the vote. So I just want to know before we do that, are we thinking, Gary, A or B?
A.
A.
I'll say A.
Okay.
A.
Judy? All right, well, that was easy.
All right.
Okay, any other comments? Kevin, since this will be a question that will be asked, after we vote, will this go on the website?
Yeah, we'll be able to get it up as the.
Okay. All right, the next topic to discuss is property tax relief grant.
Yes, I just wanted to make the board aware and the community that as part of the evidence-based funding model, $50 million was reserved for property tax, for the property tax relief grant. So ISB had to set aside $50 million to award to eligible districts so that they could abate taxes to their, for their taxpayers. And so eligible districts are those that have a unit equivalent tax rate that exceeds the threshold unit equivalent tax rate, which is a calculation that ISB does. And they have to agree to abate a portion of the taxes that they levied. So there were 373 out of 851 districts in the state that applied for the grant. The district was one of those. And 28 districts are eligible to receive the property tax relief grant for fiscal year 2019. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that, and we were number 216 out of the 373. So I just wanted to make everyone aware that, we are, looking at ways to, reduce taxes for our taxpayers and stuff. So we did apply, but we were not successful. So I just thought that would be important for everyone to know.
Kim, do you know if is that going to be every year as part of the funding model, or?
If funding is set aside, so right now that's the theory, but again, we have a new governor, and so, everything's subject to change. And then one of the things too, once you are awarded the grant, you still have the option to decline it or not abate as much as you were given authority to do. So any money that's left, if people that on that list, those 28 decide not to actually go through with it, then that just will go into the tier funding, and we won't receive any of that tier funding.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you. The next item is the TIF revenue update.
And another thing I know the board is always interested in hearing about is our update on our TIF payments. So in December, we received $67,142.55 for our TIF payment for year 5. So total received to date is $152,545.66. And it was estimated that by year 5 in the TIF projections that we would have received $1,584,938, so a difference of $1.4 million that we have not received yet. So, anyway, I just wanted to let the board know where things are at, and hopefully the tip will start to take off in the next year or so, so that we'll start to see some bigger payments.
So some of the years have additional amounts that come through, is that?
I think when they've been doing some calculating
Okay.
adjustments.
Okay. But it is at least going up every year, so that's
Yes, it is.
good news.
I did some calculation that looks like a little bit less than 10% of what was projected. So write a note somewhere, when we get to year 16, if we still haven't got it all, you notice how I said someone write a note?
Yeah.
If we haven't gotten to that, we should revisit that. Okay, thank you. The next item for discussion is the ESSA, Every Student Succeeds Act presentation. And so you're going to...
Yeah, well, if I can do it on the, projector, or we can run through it through the...
Well, no one will
Okay. We'll
see
do
that,
it.
so...
Yep. All right. Okay, back in November, when I presented the State of the District, and we had the rankings of our schools, I had mentioned to the board that I would do kind of an overview of the Every Student Succeeds Act. Many of you are familiar with No Child Left Behind, NCLB, and the original premise with NCLB is that 100% of our students would meet and exceed state standards. And as soon as that became law and school districts started to review it and saw that very quickly, we knew that the likelihood of reaching that 100% was not very good. And so almost immediately that law, No Child Left Behind, everybody was doing their best, but they knew that it would have to be revised and a new law produced. And so basically that's what Every Student Succeeds Act is, ESSA for short. That's where that came from. So this is the new reiteration of NCLB. One of the things is, first of all, it's through 2032, and one of the changes is the goal is no longer 100%, but it's 90%. So a little bit more attainable. I think it's really still going to be a challenge for school districts. But so it's 90% of our third grade students reading at or above grade level, fifth grade students meeting or exceeding expectations in math, ninth grade students on track to graduate with their cohort, and students graduating from high school ready for college and career. And I'll hit on each of those areas as we work through it. But basically, I didn't share all the benchmarks in this presentation, but this gives you an idea. Every 3 years, the benchmark increases for each of the grade levels and then each of your subgroups as you move across the table. So we start off in 2016 at 36.5% for grades 3 through 8, and then by 2032, again, incrementally, we reach that 90% threshold by 2032. And so that's what all schools in Illinois now are trying to achieve with each of their grade levels. The other thing that came out of ESSA is that there are standards as well that school districts have to meet and schools have to meet. And it's also interesting, this will be the first year that we'll be reporting out on these standards, and there's a rubric that is supplied from the Illinois State Board of Education, but it's something that schools do internally. They take a look at the rubric and they determine where they're at in terms of the rubric. But focus and coherent direction, that means that there's a vision, there are goals that you're trying to achieve, processes and structures. That means that there are ways for individuals to collaborate and put together action plans to achieve those goals. And when you start looking at our district leadership team, when you start looking at, when John referenced the building leadership team, each of our schools have those. We have those structures in place. And then monitoring results, so that there are data teams in place that are mining the data, looking at the data, and then fine-tuning those action plans, and then implementing those on a regular basis. The culture and climate, again, it's that having that shared vision and goals within that school and that school community. Having high expectations for all, and this means that we have to meet the needs of all of our different learners and all of our different types of learners, so all those different subgroups. And we have to be able to differentiate, and that it's not just enough to have high expectations for the high-achieving learner, but for all of our students we have to. And then safe and engaging learning communities, that starts to get into a little bit of the social-emotional, that it's not only worrying about the academic piece, but also the social-emotional learning as well. Shared leadership, administrative leadership, we have to have leadership, again, that the administrative team is collaborative, working together, shared vision. You have opportunities for leadership at the district and school level, and again, we have those in place. Teachers are empowered to take on a leadership role within the district, and then there's also opportunities for student leadership, and that's typically measured through your student activities that you have allowed for students, because that's typically where those student leadership opportunities are for them. The governance, management, operations, that kind of is the board umbrella of ESSA in the standards, because ultimately personnel is the board that hires the personnel. And so it's making sure that we're hiring highly qualified individuals, that they have the proper licensure, and that they will do a good job with our students in the classroom. Fiscal resources, making sure that the district is fiscally responsible, that the dollars that we have are going to meet the needs of our students and our school community. And then again, the data collection and tech tools that, periodically looking at data from the district, and then making sure that, again, there are plans in place for looking at that data, making sure that we're disaggregating that data, and we're making sure that we're meeting the needs of our students. Education and employer quality, that's making sure that we provide professional development for our staff, which we do. There's an opportunity for professional collaboration, and that's where our PLCs come into play, that our staff has that opportunity for professional collaboration. We support our professional development, which we do. We always budget for it, and we also bring in professional development. And then we have an evaluation plan for our staff. Our staff is evaluated on a regular basis to provide feedback, and then also to provide support to improve. And then the family and community engagement, making sure that our schools are communicating with our homes, so reaching out to our homes, connecting with our homes, which I can tell you all of our schools do an excellent job with that. The student personal development, that gets back to the social emotional learning for our students and making sure we're addressing those needs. And then making sure that our teachers and all of our staff, that we're advocates for our students, and we're making sure that, again, we have the high expectations for our students, and we're willing to put in the necessary supports for our students to achieve that success. Student learning and development, instructional planning and preparation, making sure that our teachers are developing the lesson plans that are aligned with the state standards, and that they're prepared for the classroom, that our classroom environments are nurturing, they're safe, our students feel safe in our learning environments, the delivery of instruction, making sure that our teachers are using instructional practices that are research-based, that we know are effective. And then professional responsibilities, making sure everybody is aware of what their professional responsibilities are when it comes to providing the education for our students. And so that's the standards, and then this gets into the accountability system, and again, what we're held accountable to every 3 years with that incremental increase. And first of all, the various subgroups that you have, and so those are different ethnic groups. It's students with IEPs, it's low income. A school district has a subgroup when there's at least 20 students who fall into that category. So that's how they determine whether or not you'll be held accountable for those subgroups. And so it's, again, the students in each of the racial ethnic groups, economic disadvantage, students with IEPs. What's new with ESSA than NCLV, you're responsible for the achievement of students with IEPs. But you do have students who maybe have an IEP, but then as they develop different strategies for learning in the classroom, and as sometimes gaps are closed, they no longer need an IEP as they move through your school district. Well, we still have to track those students to make sure that they stay at grade level, that that they don't regress. Same thing with our English learners. We have some students who need support. Their English is not spoken at the home, so their English is a second language. So we have some students who may have to have English support, ELL support, all the way through 12th grade. We have other students that as they grow, as they transition, they no longer need that support. But we still have to track those students to make sure that they don't regress and they don't, at some point in time, they need that support again. And that's unique to ESSA. We didn't have to track those students before, once they exited those programs. We talked about the school recognition, and again, our high school is exemplary this year, so that means it falls in the top 10% of schools nationwide. And then our other 3 schools were commendable, and then they have underperforming and lowest performing. And this is my own little sidebar. But when you start looking at things, for instance, lowest performing school, a school that is lowest performing 5% of Title I schools, essentially it almost looks a little bit like the bell curve. And so then when that occurs, you're basically saying that there has to be students who receive a designation of lowest performing school. Just by definition of it's the 5% lowest performing. So even if those schools are performing really well, but they happen to be the 5 lowest performing, they still get that designation. So that's one of my criticisms of the designations. The way that you arrive at that rating is broken into 2 areas. One is the core academic, and that's 75% of that rating. And so it's proficiency in ELA, math proficiency, EL proficiency, science proficiency. And then at the elementary level, it's also the growth, and then at the high school, it's the graduation rate. There's also the other 25% is the student success, school quality indicators, and fine arts, they still don't know yet how they're going to measure that indicator. We haven't been given that information. Attendance, chronic absenteeism, climate surveys, which that's the 5 essentials that is done every year. That's the climate survey. And then the P2 indicators for the elementary, there's a slide regarding that, and then the other elementary indicators. And then for our high school, 9th graders are on track, and then for our high school is also the college and career readiness. And so kind of how this looks, I don't know if it's large enough, but basically 2018, 2019, to get to that rating, 10% of it is going to be based on the ELA proficiency, that's performance on the part, math proficiency, 10%. And then the growth, and right now it's year-to-year growth, that's 50%. And right now, and then English learner proficiency is 5%. Science and this year is not part of that, which when you saw what the junior high is doing with this on the science assessment, we can't wait for that to be included. And that gets to the same 5%. And then for the student success, school quality at the elementary level, it's going to be the chronic absenteeism is 20%, the climate survey or the 5 essentials is 5%, and that gets you to 25%. For the high school, it shapes up very similar. It's ELL proficiency and math proficiency, each 10%, and that's the SAT at the high school level. Graduation rates in year 4 or 5, in 4 or 5 or 6 years is 50%. The English learner proficiency is 5%. And then when you drop down, the chronic absenteeism is 7.5%, climate survey 5%, and then the tracking of ninth graders 6.25%, and then the college readiness is 6.25%. And then what happens then is 19 and 20, some of those percentages change a little bit because for the academic, we bring in science, so that lowers the ELA and the math. And then we're at the student success school quality indicators. The P2 indicators, that's preschool to second grade indicators, will account for 5%. And then they still don't know yet what's going to happen with the fine arts yet with that. What that looks like then for the P2 indicator, the preschool to second grade, they look at chronic absenteeism, and then if you don't have a ELL, dual language population, that ends up being 3%. If you do have an ELL population, that ends up being 1.5%. And then they're going to still wait on participation enrichment, and then the third grade literacy accounts for 2%. And then for 3 through 8 grades, it'll be 2% for the fifth grade math that they're on target, and then middle school success is 3%. Ninth grade on track. This is how they define it. Students have to earn 5 full year course credits with no more than 1 semester of an F in a core course in their first year of high school. So they essentially have to be passing almost all their classes to account for that. The college and career readiness indicators, you'll notice that participation in AP and passing the AP test is one of the academic indicators. And so, definitely our high school is well positioned for that. They also have the minimum ACT and SAT scores, which were held accountable to SAT. And then for the career ready indicators, career development experience, industry credential, military service, dual credit career pathways, and we do have some dual credit career pathways. Completion of a program of study, which that's offered through TCD. Attaining and maintaining consistent employment for a minimum of 12 months, consecutive summer employment, 25 hours of community service, or 2 or more organized co-curricular activities. And so there are many ways that you can define the career readiness for our students. And so that kind of, in a nutshell, is what we're going to be held accountable to. So it's a little bit, NCLB was just about achievement on the assessment. And the goal was 100%. With ESSA, it's achievement on the assessments, it's growth as demonstrated on the assessments, but then there's also other factors in terms of the attendance and then the college career readiness, high school on track, graduation rate. So it's a little bit more well-rounded than LCLB. It's not perfect, but it's probably definitely moving in the right direction.
And I don't know if it's worth the efforts, but have you put any of our recent years of results kind of against these standards to see where we stack up as we're looking at it, not just going forward? Yeah, and when you start taking a look at, let me get to that slide, right there. When you start taking a look at the breakdown here, definitely, and you just, globally at our district, 2022, in most cases, we're already ahead of that, So for us, it's making sure that by the time we hit 2025, we're above that standard and moving forward,
So, and what's happening is, it takes a little while for the, buildings, the teachers, the administrators to get used to the assessment. So, for instance, high school is really focused on ACT because that's what we were held accountable to. Well, then they decided to switch to SAT. Well, now you're starting to see real strong gains at the high school with SAT because we've had a couple years under our belts. Same thing with Park. They've been changing it, tweaking it a little bit, but we're becoming more well-versed, and we've also found the ELA math curriculum, which is very strongly aligned with Park, and so the same thing will start to happen there as well. We're already in a comfortable position, but we'll start to see those gains.
So Kevin, with No Child Left Behind, there was always that punitive piece that was in it. Is there anything like that in the new, that you've come across? That, you could send your child to another, if you were in a failing school and all of those things that were in there. Is that, any of that in this legislation?
No, there's nothing like that. So, right, before when, if, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 years you didn't meet, then you had to reach out to neighboring school districts to see if they would accept your students, and then parents could opt out. What occurs here is that if you're underperforming, you have the option of receiving additional support through the State Board of Ed. And then if you don't get reached commendable, then the second year, then it's no longer an option, but the state will have you utilize some of their resources. If you're the lowest performing school, then you have to utilize the resources that are available through the state. The other thing that schools can do as well, if you're exemplary commendable, you can offer to be a school that will work with other schools to help them, if you opt to. And so that's it's almost like a mentoring relationship. That's one of the resources that they would provide. It's kind of like a mentoring relationship.
Kevin, I had a question. You said this is the first year, so are we going to be having data for this and reporting out at the end of this school year or next school year?
We started with the most recent report card. It incorporates some of the information, and then our next report card that we'll receive in the fall will have more of this data and more of the information, and then the year after will be additional. So we're starting to see this. That's why they started to incorporate some of the rankings. It didn't incorporate everything in those rankings, but we'll be seeing more and more of that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, now we will move to action items for the 2019-2020 school calendar. The chair will entertain a motion to approve option A of the 2019-2020 school calendar as presented.
So moved. Second.
And roll call, please.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mr. Stromeyer?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, the next item, superintendent's report.
My superintendent's report, we kind of touched on the items that were in there. First of all, just to reiterate that John Jonak received the DuPage IPA Reaching Out and Building Bridges Award from the DuPage Illinois Principal Association. A couple years ago, John was the DuPage Illinois Principal Associate Principal of the Year, and so this is another award that he's receiving, and it's again for their work with Hope for the Day, which is also augmenting their social emotional learning at the junior high. So congratulations to John. And then Jack Balderman, our high school principal, mentioned this, but the most recent 2018 Challenge Index National Rankings was published, and Westmont High School was ranked the number 3 high school in the state of Illinois, and the number 1 public high school in Illinois The two high schools ranked ahead of us, one is a private school, and one is a school that selects their students. And so it's definitely, and so when you think of that, we're ranked ahead of schools like Stevenson, New Trier, some of our neighboring schools. So really, it's very exciting for our high school. And the formula is very simple. It's a ratio of students who take the advanced placement test and then divide it by your number of seniors. So if you have a ratio of 1.0, that means for every senior there's a student taking AP, and our ratio is 5.7, so almost averaging 6 per student in the senior class. So that's really amazing work, and congratulations to Jack, the high school staff, our students. Great work.
Can we get a banner the size of the high school to put out there?
Sure. Jack's probably working on it.
You know, in all seriousness, you know, a few years ago, we did yard signs. It might be time to update those.
We could.
You know, we don't have a local paper anymore, so whatever we can do to share this with everybody would be wonderful. Thank you.
Yep, and that's my report.
All right. Then, are there any board reports?
I got nothing today.
Okay, I just have one thing. Congratulations to the high school boys basketball team for being on NBC on Friday night. There were many people that voted for that. It is nice to see our school represented so well, and they're having a stellar year, but it's also good to see that reported out for other people to see. So, congrats. And I think we're playing Lyle in a couple days, so everybody might want to
Friday night.
go to that one. Yeah, Friday night. So, any other board reports? Okay. Are there any public comments? All right. Future meetings and events. High school, the spring musical, The Wizard of Oz, is going to be this weekend, February 15th, Friday night at 7 o'clock. Saturday, February 16th at 7 o'clock, and February 17th, Sunday at 2 o'clock, and that will be literally right here on the stage. No school President's Day, February 18, 2019. So we haven't done anything about that.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
just so everybody knows, anything we're talking about is for next year.
For next
So
year.
there will be no school on February 18th. Incoming ninth grade night is at Westmont High School on February 21st starting at 6:30. The Miller Open House will be February 25th at 6 o'clock, and that will be at Miller School. And the next school board meeting will be February 26th at 7 o'clock, and that one will be at Westmont Village Hall. Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to enter closed session for the purpose of discussing personnel issues, student discipline, and the superintendent's goal update.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Coyle?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mr. Stromeyer?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
And we will not have a vote after closed.